those 5 things, which is your youth, your health, your wealth, your life and all that, before the next 5 takes over, it scares me. I don't know why I read deep meanings into it, but it matters a lot, to me, because again, it's the normal cycle of life. There is life, and of course there will be death. And if you ask me, and I tell people a lot of times, what my greatest motivation is, it's death. That's the greatest motivation. And to be honest with you, I hardly spend a day without thinking about it, and I keep asking myself, if this happens to be the last, what are those things that I would say I have used my time, I have used my knowledge, I have used my money, I've used all the things God has given me. What are those things I've used it for? And that kind of makes me move. It makes me move a muscle, because then I'm asking myself, because time, there is no time. You have to, because nobody even knows when the end game is. But nobody wants to also die flat. Everybody wants to die, fulfilled, die feeling that they've accomplished something and they've made impacts that will last even after they've gone. So that for me is a great motivation. So what are those things that have worked for me? I'll just run through this briefly and I'll give you good examples. The first one is on goal setting. To manage my time, I'm somebody that can get lost when I don't have a particular goal I'm working towards. So for example, if it's not defined, I'll basically just wade through every day doing things that I feel the time. You know what they say about I think I can't remember the quotes, but it basically means that time will fill itself up. Time isn't going to wait. Whether you fill it up with something productive or you leave it, and you will definitely do something in that time. When I said let's have that exercise for for the 8 hours, how have you spent your time? I'm sure if there wasn't any point you put there, not doing anything. You are definitely doing something. If you take a decision not to take a decision, it's also something. So even if you're staring into space, it's also something. So time would always fill itself. So if you want to start tomorrow or today, and you are not already in the habit of setting goals, it's high time you started. You have to sit down and ask yourself, what are those things I really want? And when you set this goal, it helps you also to break your days into highlights. What are the top, things that are important for me to do this month? And then you can say, what's the highlight for me today? For me, if you ask me, what's my highlight for today? It's 2 things. What I am doing now, which is this session, and the second one, I want to see my mom today. So those 2 things are the highlight of today. Every other thing can follow, but those are the 2 major things for today. So always have a daily highlight. Always have a goal. There has to be something you're working towards. It's very important. Maybe you want to write a book, and then I tell people never set small goals for yourself. It could be challenging, it can be scary, but at least push yourself, to move to that next level in terms of your growth. I do a lot of journaling. I cannot, do anything without writing. I have a book that I call prayer book. And when I am journaling in it, it's basically me communicating with God. I also find that as a way of also praying, so I'm writing, dear Allah, something happened yesterday, that's how I do it. It helps me clear the cobweb in my head. So when I have a lot of things in my head, I just want to write. Once I write it, it's like I'm freeing the memory space so that I can put fresh things into it. So you can practice that act of journaling as well. You will like it. And I journal, it's not diary per se. I used to keep diaries a lot, not diary per se. I don't come there and write on it every day. But when I feel that my head is full, I write something down. And it's not my goal book. For the goal book, it's about goals, it's about what I want to do. And I strike it off once I do it, and that gives me a lot of joy, striking something out of my page to say, done. It feels good. But journaling is just writing anything and everything that comes to your mind. It helps to free the mind. Then I have a mentor. And I like to say the story, like a couple of years back, I was overwhelmed. I felt like my world was crashing. I would go to the office, of course, with the makeup and everything. Nobody sees what is wrong. You do your work, but I wasn't feeling myself. I knew something was missing and I didn't know what it was. And I felt there was a lot of pressure also. You know, I think I was giving myself a lot of pressure, to be honest with you. I mean, why would I used to tell people that at that time I had my kids' timetable. I have jollof rice on Wednesday, fried rice on Friday, and I have to wake up very early to prepare to go to school. I mean, who sends me that message? You know, because again, it's not a quick fix. You know, and then I drove from my office at the Keja. I went to the island to meet my coach, and I sat and I broke down and I cried. And she allowed me, you know, she told me, it's okay, let it out, you know, and I said, everything doesn't seem to be working. I'm stressed, my health, I don't think I'm taking good care of myself, and blah, blah, blah. You know, she allowed me to talk, and then she started talking to me about what other thing do you think you can do if you don't, you know, from the home front, why not hire somebody to do the cooking? Must you cook it yourself? You can get, you know, a chef, person comes in, cook, put it in the freezer and all that, must it be freshly made? I said, no, it doesn't have to be fresh. He said, see, you have to manage your time. You do a lot of things, you know, but you have to manage your time to know what is most important, what can be outsourced. You know, a number of times, and I'm not even joking. When people call me, oh, I have turkey that I want to sell, live turkey, I tell them, please clean it before you bring it. Because I don't want to spend my time now. I don't want to do it. So I know how to delegate. I know how to, you know, I call people cook for me and I put it in the freezer. As much as possible, you have to check what is the value of your time. When you check the value of your 1 hour, you find out that spending time doing some things, you know, they really don't, you can outsource it. You know, my mom still thinks I'm very lazy because I don't like to wash, I don't like to iron, I don't like to, but I have some other things I spend time on, which also, you know, gives me a lot of fulfillment. But for washing, you know, those things can be outsourced. I'm just saying that, you know, you can free your time by not doing everything yourself.